Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into another fascinating topic. Today, we're taking on a subject that sparked endless debate and captured imaginations for centuries: time travel.
Yeah, it's a real head spinner, isn't it? The idea of bending time, stepping into the past, or even glimpsing the future.
Absolutely. And we've got a stack of accounts from people claiming they've done just that, or at least they've had a brush with it. We're talking firsthand knowledge of time travel projects, secret experiments, even personal experiences of slipping through time.
Sounds like we're in for a wild ride.
Buckle up. Now, let's be clear. We're not here to prove or debunk these claims. But we are going to take a deep dive into the details they present, analyze the evidence, and explore the possibilities. Think of us as your guides, navigating the fascinating and often murky waters of time travel narratives.
Right. We're here to lay it all out, the good, the bad, and the downright bizarre, and let you, the listener, decide what to believe.
Exactly. So where do we begin this journey through time? Well, how about we start with a story that takes us into the world of classified military experiments. We're talking about a whistleblower who alleges involvement in teleportation experiments back in the late 90s.
Teleportation. Always a popular theme in sci-fi. So what kind of specifics does this whistleblower offer? You know, the devil's in the details, right?
Oh, there are definitely details. According to this account, they started small, teleporting objects, inanimate stuff. Then they moved on to organic matter, even animals.
Okay, so they're gradually upping the stakes. But it's the next step that always gets me. That leap from teleporting inanimate objects to living, breathing beings. That's where the ethical lines start to blur, and the potential for things to go seriously wrong, well, it skyrockets.
And according to this whistleblower, things did go wrong. They describe a test where a soldier was teleported but vanished for 2 whole days before reappearing in the teleportation capsule. And get this, he seemed completely unaware that any time had passed at all.
Whoa, hold on. So are they suggesting this soldier unintentionally time traveled 2 days into the future without even realizing it?
That's what the whistleblower claims. And they go on to say that even today, this teleportation method is imperfect, with the risk of subjects getting lost in the time stream still a very real danger.
Yikes. Just imagine, lost in the vastness of time. It doesn't sound like a pleasant experience. But let's take a step back for a moment. If we were to entertain this account, even just for argument's sake, the implications are mind-boggling. Accidental time travel, even for a short period, could have enormous consequences. And the ethical considerations of experimenting with such technology on human subjects, well, that's a whole other can of worms.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another individual with some pretty compelling claims, Alfred Weber. Now, he's a lawyer and exopolitics radio host. Just to clarify, exopolitics deals with the study of the potential impact of extraterrestrial life on human affairs.
Okay, so we're venturing into the realm of UFOs and aliens now.
Not quite, although Weber's claims do touch upon extraterrestrial life. But his main assertion is that the US government possesses Tesla-based time travel technology.
Tesla-based, huh? As in Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor. That's a name that carries some weight. But still, that's quite a claim to make. I'm curious, what kind of evidence does he present to support this?
Well, he doesn't offer any concrete, verifiable proof. But he does assert that he's seen photos from 9/11 that were supposedly taken back in 1971, suggesting some kind of foreknowledge or even manipulation of events.
Wow, that's certainly provocative, and a bit unsettling, if I'm honest.
He doesn't stop there. He also alleges the existence of a program sending thousands of people to Mars with a tragically high mortality rate.
So we're talking about secret government programs, time travel, and possible Mars colonization. This is starting to sound like a sci-fi thriller.
It definitely has that element. And Weber goes even further, claiming that both Obama and Trump participated in time travel experiments and these Mars colonization programs.
Okay, now we're definitely wading into the deep end of conspiracy theories. It's interesting, though, to see how his claims become progressively more speculative, venturing further and further from what we might consider mainstream thought.
Right, and it raises an important question. Why would someone with Weber's background, a lawyer with a history of involvement in exopolitics, risk his reputation by making such bold claims? Is he seeking attention? Or does he genuinely believe what he's saying? It's hard to say for sure. But it's a reminder that even individuals with impressive credentials can hold beliefs that might seem far-fetched to others.
Definitely food for thought. So where do we go from here? More tales of secret government programs and interplanetary adventures.
Let's shift gears a bit. How about we fast forward to the early 2000s, when the internet was buzzing with the story of John Titor.
Ah, John Titor, the self-proclaimed time traveler from 2036. His story captivated online forums, sparked endless debates, and left a trail of unanswered questions in its wake.
Exactly. Now, for those who might not be familiar with Teeter's story, he claimed to be a time traveler from the future, sent back to retrieve an IBM computer from 1975.
An IBM computer? Seems a bit random, doesn't it? Why not something more, well, futuristic?
Well, according to Teeter, this particular computer was essential for rebuilding infrastructure in his time that had been ravaged by a devastating world war.
Ah, so a mission of vital importance. But still, why not go back further in time and try to prevent the war altogether? Wouldn't that make more sense?
It's a question many people posed to Teeter during his time online. But his responses often focused on the complexities of time travel, comparing it to technologies we use today without fully understanding their inner workings.
That's an interesting analogy. I mean, how many of us truly understand how a smartphone or the internet actually works? We use them every day, but the science behind them can seem like magic to the average person.
Exactly. And Teeter argued that just because something is complex or unfamiliar doesn't mean it's impossible. He seemed to suggest that our current understanding of physics might be too limited to grasp the intricacies of time travel.
So he was basically saying, trust me, it's complicated, but it works. A bit of a leap of faith, for sure. But I can see how his arguments might have appealed to those already inclined to believe in the possibility of time travel.
Definitely. He also went into quite a bit of detail about life in 2036, describing a world that had undergone significant societal and technological changes as a result of this future war.
And of course, he shared details about the advancements in time travel technology that made his journey possible. Did he ever provide any concrete evidence to support his claims? Something that could be independently verified.
Sadly, no. In 2001, he simply vanished from the forums, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and speculation. His sudden disappearance only added to the mystery surrounding his story.
A classic time traveler move, if you ask me. Appear out of nowhere, drop some mind-blowing claims, then disappear back into the ether. It's almost too perfect, isn't it?
It does fit the narrative, doesn't it? But it's also a reminder that without verifiable evidence, these accounts remain in the realm of speculation and personal interpretation. We're left to ponder the possibilities, weigh the arguments, and ultimately decide for ourselves what we believe.
Exactly. It's all part of the fun, right? Exploring the unknown, challenging our assumptions, and keeping those imaginations fired up.
Absolutely. And speaking of accounts that might strain believability, we have one more whistleblower story to delve into before we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Oh, lay it on me. What kind of time-bending tale do we have in store this time?
This one claims that the U.S. military developed a functional time travel device decades ago. Decades ago, we're talking like way back, Cold War era.
Even earlier.
Yeah.
This whistleblower claimed they were already messing around with teleportation tech as far back as the 1940s.
Wow. That's even before all the rumors about the Philadelphia experiment. The one where they supposedly made a ship invisible.
Yeah, the USS Eldridge. That one's been making the rounds for years.
Right. And this account, well, it kind of hints that those rumors, maybe they weren't so far-fetched after all. They were supposedly trying to make ships invisible to radar, but they stumbled onto something way bigger, something they didn't expect.
Let me guess. Accidental time travel. Seems like that's a recurring theme in a lot of these stories. Like, oh, we were just trying to do this, and whoops, we ended up in a different time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how often that pops up, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this time, it wasn't just a blip. This whistleblower specifically says a destroyer, the USS Eldridge, was involved in a test that went seriously wrong.
I'm guessing it wasn't just invisible to radar anymore.
Nope, not even close. According to this account, the ship completely vanished. Poof, gone. Then it reappeared just moments later, but hundreds of miles away. And get this, some of the crew were supposedly fused to the metal hull.
Whoa, hold on. Fused to the hull, like melted into the metal. That's a seriously disturbing image. It makes you wonder what kind of forces were unleashed, and what the consequences could be when we start messing with stuff we don't fully understand.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, but it gets even weirder. Some crew members were saying they saw creatures that they couldn't even describe, and others, get this, claimed they had jumped forward in time for short periods.
Okay, now that's pushing it. I mean, I'm all for open-mindedness, but we got to be careful about taking every story at face value, right? Especially when we're talking about secondhand information and claims that can't be verified.
Oh, absolutely. Healthy skepticism is key, but you got to admit it's a pretty compelling story. And it does play into that theme we keep seeing, the potential dangers of messing with forces we don't fully comprehend.
Yeah, the unintended consequences of playing with time. It's a classic trope in sci-fi, but it makes you think, doesn't it? What if we actually do figure out time travel someday? Are we really ready for what might come with it?
It's a question worth pondering. Because if even a fraction of these stories are true, then the implications for humanity, for our understanding of reality, well, they're pretty huge.
No doubt about it, it'd be a game changer. Okay, so we've talked about teleportation mishaps, potential Mars colonies, secret government projects. Where do we go from here?
Well, how about we tackle a concept that often goes hand in hand with time travel, but it rarely gets explained in a way that, regular people can understand.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What concept are we talking about?
Parallel universes, or as they're sometimes called, alternate timelines.
Ah, yes. The idea that there are infinite versions of ourselves living out different lives and countless branching realities, it's a mind-bending concept for sure. But what does it actually mean? How could these parallel universes even exist?
Right. It's like, is there a me out there who made different choices, took different paths? It's
Yeah.
both fascinating and a little freaky to think about.
Totally. But some scientific theories actually suggest it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. One of the leading theories is based on quantum mechanics, the science that deals with how particles behave at the tiniest levels.
Okay, I vaguely remember quantum mechanics from high school physics,
Hmm.
but it was never my strong suit. Can you break it down a bit?
Sure. In the quantum world, things aren't so straightforward. It's not all black and white. A particle can actually exist in multiple states at the same time until it's observed or measured.
So it's kind of like a coin spinning in the air. It's both heads and tails until it lands, and then we see the outcome.
Exactly. Now imagine that every time a quantum measurement is made, the universe splits, creating two separate timelines. One where the coin landed heads and one where it landed tails.
Whoa. So every decision, every random event could potentially create a whole new universe. That's a lot of universes.
A lot is an understatement. We're talking infinite universes. And it gets even wilder. Some physicists believe that these parallel universes, they might not be completely separate. They could be interacting with each other in subtle ways, maybe even influencing our own reality.
Okay, now my brain is officially starting to melt. It's like the cosmic butterfly effect, but
So-
rippling across dimensions.
Exactly. And some proponents of time travel believe that if we could manipulate the fabric of space-time, we might be able to tap into these parallel universes.
So, theoretically, we could not only jump through time, but also across dimensions. That's a whole other level of mind-blowing.
It is, but, full disclosure, we're still deep in theoretical territory here. But it's a captivating concept, and it's definitely fueled a lot of sci-fi stories and sparked endless debates among physicists.
It definitely adds another layer of complexity to the whole time travel thing. It's like
Right.
the possibilities might actually be endless.
And the implications, well, they're pretty mind-boggling to even try to wrap your head around.
I gotta be honest, I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed by all these mind-bending concepts. We've gone from teleportation mishaps to potential Mars colonies, secret government projects, and now parallel universes. It's a lot to process.
I hear you. It's a lot to take in, and a lot of it is highly speculative. But hey, that's part of what makes this topic so captivating, right? The unknown, the mysteries, the stuff we haven't figured out yet.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that there's still so much we don't know about the universe and our place in it.
And who knows, maybe someday we'll have concrete answers to all these questions. Or maybe the mystery will always remain, and we'll keep on questioning, searching, and exploring.
Maybe that's part of the beauty of it, right? The endless possibilities, the unanswered questions. They keep us curious, keep us wondering, keep us pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Well said. It's a testament to the boundless nature of human curiosity and imagination.
I think that's a great place to pause for us. Part 2 of our deep dive into time travel. But before we go, I have one final question for our listeners to ponder. What if? What if all these accounts we've been talking about, what if they're not just stories? What if they're like little glimpses into something real, something we just don't quite grasp yet?
That's a big what if. It would definitely shake things up, wouldn't it? I mean, think about it. If even a tiny bit of what we've discussed turned out to be true, it would completely change how we see the world, how we see history, everything.
Totally. It would challenge everything we think we know about time, about the universe, even about what's possible.
It would make you wonder, wouldn't it? What's real, what's not? What's out there that we just haven't discovered yet?
For sure. But even if these stories are pure fiction, they still tap into something, something deep within us, like our fascination with the unknown, that drive to push the limits, to see what's beyond the horizon.
I think that's a really important point. Whether time travel ever becomes a reality, these stories, they make us think, don't they? They spark those big questions, the ones about our place in the universe, the meaning of it all.
They make us consider the consequences.
Yeah.
What if we could change the past? What would happen? What are the ethics of messing with time? Is it even right to try?
Yeah, those ethical dilemmas, they're huge. And the stories, they force us to confront those questions head on. They remind us that there's still so much to learn, so much to explore.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, keep those minds open, keep questioning, keep exploring. Never stop wondering about the mysteries of time, about the universe, about everything.
Because who knows, right? Maybe someday what we consider science fiction today will become science fact tomorrow.
And that's a wrap for our deep dive into time travel. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the twists and turns of time. Until next time, keep those imaginations running wild.